Good morning, college football fans, and welcome to 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. My goodness, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. Yes! It's what we like to call November Madness. Oh yeah, November Madness is a little fun. This is what the NCAA could really market like March Madness if we had a really cool tournament, which of course the NCAA doesn't like that idea. I'm just saying, if we had a really cool tournament, this would be November Madness because Division III gets it, Division II gets it, the FCS gets it, my goodness, even the NAIA gets it, alright? But yes, all of those divisions in the NCAA and even the NAIA, playoffs are on the rise, and it is going to be fun, y'all. Oh my, yes, we are ready to rock and roll, y'all. We are ready. We have playoffs are here, and they're starting today. Oh, it's awesome. So, we got that coming your way, of course, in Division I Single A. My goodness, we had some madness last week. But can we just fast forward to Rivalry Week? Well, at least part 1, because, you know, UCLA, USC in a very meaningful game is coming up this weekend, and I hope your calendar is cleared because it's going to be a freaking game. We have so much more. Oklahoma State. They've been kind of weird this year. Should be a good game. All I know is we got plenty of stuff coming your way. It's going to be a good one. You are now tuned in live to 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Your boy Larry B here, and yeah, I just got to say really fast, man, my bad, the introduction was a little out there, but I just couldn't help it. I am so freaking excited for these playoffs because, well, that's what we're about. It's all about the playoffs, and man, they're all fun. I'm ready for them. I hope you're ready for them. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have some fun today, and, well, it's all in playoff fashion. But I can't do any of that without first introducing, of course, my co-host. He's the dude, man. Great guy. As I always say, IE Sports Radio Hall of Famer. All around great person, the host of Set Point here on IE Sports Radio, the host of the SoCal Spring Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio. He's my co-host here on 3 and Out College Edition, and like I said, seriously, just a great person. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming, of course, the one, the only, Mr. Teran Rodriguez. What's going on, brother? How you doing today, man?
Hey, Larry. Doing pretty good. Ready to talk a lot of college football with you, and maybe some high school football.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother. We're going to have some fun talking. We got plenty of that coming on the way. This Division I in the California Southern section is basically who we thought they were. You know, they are who they thought they were, Teran. We are who they thought they were. But we are going to have so much fun today getting into all this good stuff. And, well, first things first, man. We are going to dive right into Week 11 from last week. It was a weirdo. There was... I don't know. It was a good week, Teran. It really was. Really, really, really good week in college football. And saw lots of things that are like, okay, well, hey, maybe this team is for real. Maybe this team's for real. Maybe this team's not, you know? So overall, I don't know. There was a lot of question marks and things that were, well, let's just get into some games. So, I mean, yes, last week we saw number 25 Washington knocking off number 6 Oregon. That's what I'm talking about. I get it. It was a 3-point game. It was a good one, but wow, that says so much. Washington, a team who hasn't had the best season. I mean, they're 8-2 now. I mean, not that they're horrible or anything, but you know, I mean, they've definitely had to fight from the depths. You know, underneath the top 25, they got a victory over Oregon. I mean, upset fashion. That's a rivalry. I love it. Pac-12 right there. Great, great stuff. And then we got to see Alabama almost fall to Ole Miss. And for the fans out there, don't act like it didn't happen. Alabama fought like hell. It was a good game. Ole Miss, though, has got a lot of talent. And it was a good one. Alabama, though, squeaks by with that victory. It was a good one, really, really, really good one. Then we have here I don't know. There were some crazy ones. Purdue knocking off number 21 Illinois. Just begs to ask the question, I mean, did they belong up there? You know what I mean, Teran? Like, did they? I don't know. I mean, we're going to see. I don't know. LSU almost losing to Arkansas. That was pretty crazy. Navy almost beating Notre Dame. Notre Dame just pulled off a major upset a few weeks ago. I mean, seriously, Teran, like, what the hell? Number 4 TCU in Texas, of course, last week's Saturday Night Football. My gosh, Teran, TCU almost fell to Texas. I mean, it was just a weird week. It was crazy, but Teran, talk to us, man. What were your thoughts on last week?
Yeah, it was quite the crazy week last week. Also now that you mentioned the Pac-12, what happened with UCLA against Arizona?
Yeah.
I kind of thought that this was going to be a trap game just because Arizona has a lot of young key pieces, and if they were to lose, they wouldn't be bowl game eligible, but that was kind of a shocker for UCLA to lose to Arizona like that, especially the week before. And then Oregon losing to Washington did not do the Pac-12 any favors because now it decreases the chances of a Pac-12 team getting into the college football playoff. So the only team that has a good shot at making the college football playoff is none other than USC, as basically it rides on their shoulders. They have to win today, then they got to win next week against Notre Dame, then they got to win the Pac-12 championship. So basically, USC is kind of the last saving grace for the relevancy of the Pac-12, especially before they ride on off into the sunset where they go into the Big Ten along with UCLA. So overall, it was a crazy week, and for the Pac-12, it's basically do or die with USC.
It really is, and yeah, I mean, this is it. You're right, this is it. I mean, UCLA is too far back. Oregon is now just completely out of it. I mean, it's crazy. It really is crazy. And can USC do it? This will be the first time USC's ever been there. And now we know what. I still don't like the fact that SC is going to the Big Ten. I think it's stupid, but whatever. I mean, I've already voiced my opinion before this summer. But, Teran, it's crazy because imagine if SC can do it, man. I honestly think this year, and I'm just being straight up, for anybody out there who wants to, that's what we do here. It's fine. Debate all you want to. Teran, right now we look at the current top 5. Okay, we look at the top 4. The college football playoff were to start tomorrow. Teran, the current top 4 right now, we have TCU at number 4. Number 3 is Michigan. Number 2 is Ohio State, and number 1 is Georgia. I'm just going to be real. If USC can break into that, I seriously feel like any of these teams can win it. Georgia's solid, but I don't know. They don't look like the Georgia they were, even though they're undefeated. I don't know. They're good, but I don't know. Ohio State is a damn good team. But I don't know. I just kind of feel like they're beatable too. I mean, everybody is beatable, but Michigan, they're 10-0, but they don't really scare me. You know what I mean, Darren? Like, they don't. Like, TCU, they're a good team. But, I mean, I feel like they're also, hey, all right, we'll put our guys against them too. Tennessee, they looked strong and they got beat once, but, we'll see. LSU, they're good, and then you have SC. I mean, my goodness, Alabama, number 8, Clemson, number 9, and number 10, Utah. Darren, I honestly felt like all 10 of these teams, if you were to put them in a random, play each other 10 times a piece, generator, I seriously feel like there would be no, dominance here. I don't know. I just kind of feel like if SC were to sneak into the playoffs, honestly, it wouldn't be, horrible to say SC could actually win a national championship. I mean, do you feel that way this year with all this craziness going on or no?
Yeah, I feel they could, and you also got to remember that Michigan and Ohio State will be playing one another, so one of them is going to be representing in the college football playoff, let alone the Big Ten Conference Championship, while the other, unfortunately, will be on the outside looking in. And then, for me, if for some reason TCU remains within the top 4, my top 4 would probably be, and this is best case scenario, Georgia, I picked Ohio State to beat Michigan, and then TCU, and then USC if USC manages to run the table. Something I don't understand is that LSU has 2 losses, yet they're still ranked ahead of USC.
It doesn't make any sense.
USC's lone loss was to Utah, where they only lost by 1, and it was on the road. And again, Utah is a good team. I understand there were some not so good calls against USC, but Cam Rising is indeed a beast, and Utah is a very tough place to win at just because the hostile environment, the altitude, and whatnot. So overall, I think USC needs to be ranked ahead of LSU. And this is no knock on LSU. I understand they took down the big boss in Alabama, but those 2 losses are still a little glaring to me. So all USC needs to do is they have to get healthy, first of all. Like, if USC gets healthy, they might have a shot just because they're losing players left and right, and some players are out for the rest of the season. So they got to get healthy for the most part, and no matter what, they have to control what they can control. Like, if they can take care of business on their end, then they just got to wait to see where the chips fall on the other side. So.
Agreed, Teran. Very good points there, sir. And yeah, man. Now here on the chat room, by the way, Mr. Aaron X, brother, appreciate you. He'll be on after us today, and we'll just ask him here on air. Aaron, as you can see, we got started 10 minutes late today. Again, technical crap. My apologies. If you wouldn't mind starting 10 minutes later, at 9:10 your time, my apologies. But yes, thank you, sir. But really fast, guys. I do have thoughts on what he says here. Aaron says Notre Dame versus USC is going to be an outstanding contest in a week. And really, I think so too. I mean, it's something that I wouldn't have really batted an eye at. I really wouldn't. I was like, man, SC was going to destroy these guys the way that Notre Dame started out. But now that Notre Dame is, I mean, my gosh, they upset number 4 Clemson. Before that, they beat number 16 Syracuse. But the problem is before that, UNLV had a good game with them. That's just different. You know what I mean? Like Stanford, who isn't that good. I get that's a rivalry, but I don't know. I mean, they did beat BYU this year. Then North Carolina had a good game with them. It's just kind of weird. Cal had a good game with them. They got freaking beat by Marshall this year. I mean, you know what I mean? This is weird, Teran. They barely beat Navy last week. I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me because I feel like Notre Dame shows up to the big games. They just play to people's level, I kind of feel like. So if that's the case, if that's the trend, they're going to play to SC's level, and that's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not just going to be a rivalry game for USC and Notre Dame. Obviously, I think it's the Golden Schley. That's what it's on the line.
The Jeweled Shillelagh.
Oh, yeah, yes, the Jeweled Shillelagh. Sorry. So, but anyway, that Notre Dame game looks so interesting, and I feel Notre Dame has finally found its quarterback, just because I feel maybe the first 2 games didn't really describe them all that well, considering they didn't have good quarterback play, and I think maybe they finally found their guy, and I think they found their guy at pretty much every position. So it is going to be tough, but the good thing for USC is that they don't have to travel to South Bend. They can go up to, or the game will be at the Rose Bowl, or not the Rose Bowl, the Coliseum. But overall for USC, that should be a very good game. I think Notre Dame is very much under the radar. I think they're playing much better, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I'd like to see USC come out on top, but I don't know. I think maybe Notre Dame is playing much better just because I think the early games don't really do them any justice, but we'll see.
Well, I'm right there with you, Darren. So we got some good games to take a look at today, man. Of course, we got plenty to get into. Moving up into the throughout the show, but man, there are some good ones today. Of course, like I said, the big one, we're gonna get to that one later. UCLA, USC. My gosh, it's just gonna be a freaking fight. I'm so excited for that one. Hopefully, nothing literally like a fight, but in game sense and in a football game sense, of course, gonna be a good one. We got some good ones today, actually. One that I just kind of wanted to just highlight really quick. I mean, I don't know. We're gonna start off with the earlier ones. We got a game coming up actually in just a little bit, Navy and UCF coming up at 8 o'clock our time, kind of cool. But coming up today, it looks like we have, let me see, where is that one I just saw? So this one is kind of crazy. I want to go to, Michigan, Indiana, Indiana versus Michigan State, man, really quick. It's funny. It's a game where they're not that good, but you guys kind of want to watch it. I don't know. It's kind of cool. But what do you think about that one, Taryn? They got Michigan State favored by 10.5.
Michigan State. That is an interesting game,
Right?
For Michigan State. Their magic number of clinching a bowl game is pretty much 1.
Yep.
Just because they've got 2 games remaining, and if you're 500 or better, then you're basically bowl game eligible. That would be quite the interesting game for Michigan State. A couple games to watch for: Illinois, Michigan. I would not be surprised if Michigan kind of struggled a little bit. I know they're 17.5-point favorites, but you can't really count out the Fighting Illini. I mean, they've been kind of surprising this year for good and for bad. So, and you look at the entirety of the Big West Conference Western portion, there are 4 teams tied for first place, and then Wisconsin's still in the hunt, being 1 game behind. Whereas the Big Ten East, it's just a 2-horse race with Michigan and Ohio State. So the Big Ten West has just been a logjam in terms of its teams. And I have been hearing that the Big Ten is going to try to get rid of the East and the West division, but it's not fully confirmed. And then the other big interesting matchup that I kind of have people should keep an eye on is TCU and Baylor.
Yes.
So Baylor isn't the team that they were last year when they won the Big 12, but they could, hence the word could, play spoiler just because Baylor has nothing to lose, and the only team that's pretty much near TCU in the Big 12 conference standings is Kansas State. But overall, Baylor TCU is very underrated, and you never know with what Baylor has in store.
No, that's for sure, Taryn, and those are some good early games. So, of course, we got some more games coming up for you guys today. Of course, later on in the show, we kind of get some move like that. We got the Saturday Night Football game tonight, which is going to be pretty cool. Saturday Night Football, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, they're both not that good, but so what? It's a rivalry game. It's a fun one. Of course, UCLA, USC coming up. I mean, we're going to get into all that coming up later on today, but now is the time where we will go ahead and just drop off now into a little bit of high school football. And, well, Tara, you were at quite the game last night. I can't wait to get into that one in just a few minutes. But as of right now, let's go ahead and roll on into this top 25, top 10 here, as we usually do. And, well, let's see what we got here. So, all right, you guys, we're going to run through this one here today. The IMG Academy has now broken in, as I said, into the top 10 out of Florida. Good morning, Mr. Mike Pat. And the Delaware Blue Hens are going to take it all this year. Just kidding. Hey, they might. I don't know. I'm just playing. Thank you very much for jumping on in there, Mr. Mike Pat. And, of course, Mr. Adam Karnick jumping on. Eli and I were red hot, then cooled off the last few weeks. Oh, my gosh, yes. It's been a roller coaster for that team. It really has. So, big ups to those people, of course, our awesome peeps, of course, IA Sports Radio family in the chat room. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. So, let's go ahead and breeze through high school football real quick, Taryn. Through the top 10 around the country. The IMG Academy out of Bradenton, Florida. They just finished off a game last night where they would defeat number 2 in the nation, Taryn. That's right, 27-26. The IMG Academy will defeat St. Francis Academy out of Baltimore, 27-16 on the road. Taryn, what a freaking game, right?
Yeah, IMG Academy really came alive in the second quarter. I thought that was kind of the turning point, and they had a lot of momentum in that quarter. Something, too, that I did not realize this season was that IMG Academy actually lost the Central of Miami, which you never really see IMG Academy losing too many games, especially unless it's like to modern day, of course. But overall, IMG really showed up this game, and I guess this was kind of the game where the bigger the game, the bigger the come up has to be. And IMG really stepped up, and it's a tough one for St. Francis Academy, losing at your home field. but there's no shame in losing to IMG Academy.
At all. At all. So I can't wait to see where St. Francis is next week and where IMG Academy is next week when those rankings get released on Max Preps. Courtesy, of course, where we're getting all of our stuff here. Then, of course, the number 9 team, or at least at the moment, team of the nation, the North Shore Mustangs out of Houston, Texas. Well, they're in the playoffs, and they're just doing great, Teran. They're 12-0 now. They defeated Dickinson yesterday in a very hard-fought game, though. Dickinson made North Shore work 43-34. How about that game, Teran? North Shore moves on.
Yeah, for me, once you've pretty much hit playoff time, it's basically win or go home, and I don't think there's too many there's not too many teams that are going to be lying down when it comes to playoff time. Like, now you're going to be starting to see some of the better teams come playoff time in high school football. So I think for North Shore, this was kind of a wake-up call just because, well, they controlled the game for the most part. It's just that it wasn't as convincing and emphatic of a win as most people wanted it. But overall, for North Shore, they proved that they're top 10 material.
Absolutely. St. Thomas Aquinas, currently number 8. They went to 10-0 last night. They destroyed Atlantic 63-14. My goodness, Atlantic out of Delray Beach, Florida. Yeah, man, just a total slaughter in this one.
Yeah, for me, this was not surprising at all. The first half, it was pretty much done by the first half. They're 49-6 at halftime, and third quarter they just basically kicked in overdrive. And yeah, St. Thomas Aquinas, they really showed up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Moving on to number 7 in the country, of course, we have Chaminade Madonna, the Lions, out of Hollywood, Florida. Darren, this one was another one that was just over. They will defeat... how did you pronounce it again, Taryn? Avant-garde, right? I think is how you pronounce it. Avant-garde. Well, Taryn, 48-0. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, looks like Chaminade Madonna's moving on in the playoffs.
Yeah, Chaminade Madonna, they got four touchdowns from their quarterback, and their starting quarterback, Cedric Bailey, he went 13 for 16 for 267 yards. That's pretty incredible if you ask me. And when your quarterback is going 13 for 16 and he has an 81% completion percentage, you're going to be getting a whole lot of production from him. And it was just a great game overall from Chaminade Madonna. And yeah, it's Cedric Bailey. Keep an eye out for him. And Davion Gauze did him a lot of favors offensively as well, as he had 2 rushing touchdowns, 104 rushing yards, and back to Bailey, he spread the ball around quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Receivers.
Absolutely. Well, really quick, Aaron, we have a message here in the chat room. Aaron says here, I know you guys are moving on to high school football, but I thought I'd mention the Hoosiers are going with a more mobile quarterback this week and might provide spark versus Sparty. Hey, might provide a spark versus Sparty. This is also, thankfully, the Hoosiers, or for the Hoosiers. I think the Big Ten is going to change its divisional alignment in 2024. So, yeah, we'll see about that. But thank you for that, Mr. Aaron. And certainly, let's hope the best for those Indiana Hoosiers today for your sake, good sir. So, Taryn, we move on to the number 6 team in the country. And my goodness, Taryn, it happened. We had our first major upset. I think the first major upset has got to be the IMG Academy over St. Francis Academy. But Taryn, Buford, the team that we have been raving about all season, man, out of Georgia, they will take their first L of the season, and their season has concluded. In the second round of the playoffs, they will lose to Walton, Taryn, out of Marietta, California. Kind of funny, because we live in Marietta, California, and well, this is Marietta, I think, how they pronounce it. But I know they have a particular way of pronouncing it, too. I've heard some people say it before in the past, Marietta or something like that. But regardless, the Walton Raiders, Darren, will knock off Buford 35 to 42 last night, and Walton moves on, and the number 6 team in the country is finished for the season. Teran, what the heck?
So this was a very interesting game at halftime. So at halftime, Buford was actually at 14-13, but I don't know what Walton did in the second half to get them going. The fourth quarter was where it was blown wide open as Walton they basically unleashed, and they went up 2 scores at one point, and then they made sure to stay up 2 scores and to keep up the separation. So overall for Walton, it was just a great game that they played. And for Buford, I don't know what went wrong in that fourth quarter, but again, this is the postseason. Every team is going to be at their best, and they're not going to be playing too many bad teams for the most part.
Absolutely, Darren. Bishop Gorman, hey, the number 5 team in the country. They played today versus Bishop Minot, I believe how you pronounce it. I want to butcher it, but they played today. It looks like 1:30 p.m. I don't know if that's Pacific time or not, but hey, all the best to the Gales. They're playing their playoff game today. Any thoughts on that one, Darren?
Yeah, I think for Bishop Gorman, if the trend is still continuing for them, they're not going to be losing too many big games. But this Bishop Montague, this team should be quite a challenge. I mean, I'm not going to speculate on how challenging they are, but I feel that Bishop Gorman should be able to get the job done. It's just not going to be as convincing as some of their past matchups. So overall, most of Bishop Gorman's wins have been very convincing. They've won by 40-some points. I think all their wins this year have been, almost all of them, have been by 30 or more points, with the lone loss coming from, obviously, Mater Dei. So maybe they'll get a challenge, and maybe it won't be a 30-point blowout, but we'll see.
Yeah, Bishop Gorman out of Vegas, y'all. So they're just playing great football, and we'll see what they do today. So moving over from Vegas now over to, of course, our neck of the woods in Southern California. St. John Bosco. Well, Taryn, I mean, my goodness, we can do this in John Felipe, what do you call it, style, or however you want to say it, fashion. But well. I mean, was it ever a surprise, Taryn? I mean, my goodness. On one side of the bracket, we have Mater Dei taking on Los Alamitos, and on the other side of the bracket, in Division 1 in the Southern California, in CIF Southern section, that is. And, Taryn, on the other side, we have St. John Bosco taking on Mission Viejo. Of course, they were both blowouts last night. Spoiler alert for when we get to Mater Dei in a few minutes. But we'll focus on St. John Bosco right now. Just absolutely destroyed Mission Viejo, 41-6. Next week, of course, they'll be taking on Mater Dei, 7 p.m. Pacific time. It's going to be a battle, of course, for a Division 1 title. Should be a great game. They played already this year. But, yeah, so without getting into Mater Dei's game, Taryn, I mean, St. John Bosco dominates.
Yeah, for St. John Bosco, they really laid down the wood against Mission Viejo. This is a Mission Viejo team that has scored 30 or more points in all of its games this year, except for last night. So the fact that – here's the thing about St. John Bosco. Whenever they get off to an early lead, you got to score some points. And unfortunately, Mission Viejo was held in check for the most part. St. John Bosco has a lot of big boys, and I basically mentioned that – Mission Viejo needs to have its offensive line step up for its quarterback, Caden Samanza, who's down for Ball State. But unfortunately, it never really came for the Diablos. And the worst part was that Mission Viejo was coming off of a huge win over Corona Centennial. They actually halted Centennial's 14-game semifinal streak this season. So for the Diablos, it was just not really their game. Even though they got to play their game at Mission Viejo, just because of the whole coin toss situation and the number of home games and away games a certain team plays. But for Mission Viejo, it was a tough loss of the season. A very good season, in my opinion. They obviously got to the semifinals. We haven't really seen them a whole lot in the semifinals, and they lose quite a bit from their team. They lose a very good receiver core, and their defense was also pretty solid as well. But replacing Kane Samanza is not going to be an overnight process. It's going to be a while before they replace him, just because he's just such a generational talent for the Diablos, and he's going to be heavily missed during the graduation.
Oh, that's for sure, Teran. So, moving on to number 3, the Central Rockets out of Miami. Well, Teran, they had a fight. A team that was freaking at the time, they were 6-5, I think. Northwestern from Miami, Florida also. Teran, this was a gosh dang freaking scrap. 34-30, man. What a game. Central moves on the playoffs. They'll be taking on Norland next week. But man, oh my gosh, what a game. And Central had, I think, probably one of the biggest fights of the year, I think, on their plate this year.
Yeah, with that, along with the win over Bishop Gorman, Central really showed up. But for Northwestern, they had nothing to lose. They were 6-5. They're facing the number 3 team in the nation. They did not have much to lose, and that's kind of the scary combination for Central to witness. So for Central, I thought they played well. They obviously did enough to win, but hats off to Northwestern. They really hung tough with the number 3 team in the nation, and that's kind of the indicator of the playoffs. The playoffs are a whole different animal, and sometimes it brings out the best in a team.
That's for sure, Teran. Well, we can go right over number 2. As we already know, number 2, St. Francis Academy fell to currently number 10, the IMG Academy, 27-16. And, well, we'll see where they are next week. And then, of course, last night, the Mater Dei Monarchs. Teran, you were in the house, man. And it was just a complete beatdown, 52-0, as they destroyed Los Alamitos. And you got a very cool interview with, of course, probably one of the most, I don't know what to say. He is one of the greatest high school coaches I think we're going to see. You can put him right up there with guys like Ladisser from De La Salle. I mean, he's just a total legendary coach, and it was awesome. You last night got a chance to interview Mr. Bruce Rawlinson. I mean, I wish we could have played it on the show here today, but dude, that was amazing, man. And what a game, man. How was it last night?
So it was basically electric. This was my first ever Mater Dei football game that I have seen in person, and overall for the Monarchs, they were just stout all over the place. Their defense was strong. The offense, it took a little while for them. Like the first drive, they resulted in a field goal, but then Mater Dei just started clicking all over the place. For Los Alamitos, it just doesn't do them any justice, just because the second quarter they did lose their quarterback, Malachi Nelson, to back spasms as he went down, and then he took a knee to the back. So unfortunately for the Griffins, they had to throw Jaden O'Neal, a freshman quarterback, into the game. And while it does suck that he got thrown into that position, and he basically had to face a lot of big boys, lots of pressure, this is going to be very valuable experience for him going forward, just because he's the next man up for the Griffins this upcoming or next year, and then 2 years after that. So I think for Los Alamitos, they got a lot of good young guys to play in this game, and that's what their head coach Ray Fenton told me, that the fact that they got to play on that level, the Mater Dei level, the nationally ranked level, it's just amazing, and that they were able to get a lot of young guys. And you can't really simulate a injury situation where your starting quarterback has to come out and he's unable to play. So for Los Alamitos, they handled the situation well. Jaden O'Neal was poised. I know he was under pressure a lot, and he, in my opinion, was humbled, but this is only going to make him grow even stronger the up-and-coming years, just because he's got a bright future ahead of him, and he's going to do big things for the Griffins.
That's amazing, Teran, and just what a job. I know we'll put up, I know you have the Bruce Rawlinson interview, of course, over on your Twitter page, so please, everybody, make sure to go check that out. Of course, that is at Teran Rodriguez 1, the number 1. Awesome stuff, man, and Teran is the man. So really quick, guys, I know I went a little bit longer than we should have. We're chomping into the second half of the show already, but we're going to take ourselves a quick break. When we get back, we have freaking playoffs are here, y'all. November Madness. That's right. Teran and I have deemed it November Madness, all right? Ha. But, yes, Division 3 playoffs are here. Division 2 playoffs are here. The Triple C Double A. Oh my goodness, we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. Also, NJCAA action, the NAIA playoffs. Oh my gosh, it's going to be fun. So we're going to get into all that coming up in just a few minutes. You're listening to 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back after this.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
Lopan, they didn't even want you. Heck, they didn't even want me. But you know what? Right about now, they have no choice. Looking for the real sports talk? Talk that's for us, the people? Look no further. The Wait a Minute Show, a prime time sports comedy cocktail that tucks you in at night. Join me and Lopan Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 2livestewsradio.com and Saturday 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Wait a Minute Show.com. Sounds like a plan to me. Ain't that right, Lopan?
Indeed. Are you a fan of Buffalo sports? Are you thinking of changing loyalties and becoming a Buffalo sports fan? Do you even know where Buffalo is on the map? Did you know Canada is closer to Buffalo than New York City? Welcome to the Buffalo Huddle, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Patty Bax. This is a podcast designed for you, the passionate sports fan. I know you love your sports. Who doesn't? I cover Buffalo sports and so much more by bringing in the human elements. I call it Buffalo Sports with a Twist. Join me as we take a journey into the world of Buffalo sports. I guarantee you'll fall in love with Buffalo just like I did. Each week we start with an inspiration, question of the day, a Buffalo fun fact, and our weekly challenge to you, the listener. Come huddle up with me. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As we say in Buffalo, go Bills!
And as we say on IE Sports Radio, we are your direct feed for all that is sports, y'all. Welcome back. Patty's freaking drop can make you happy. Teran, am I right, dude? Like, my goodness. Listening to Miss Patty Bax and her little drop there, it just like makes you in a positive mood.
Yeah, and it relaxes you.
I mean, seriously, man. I love it. So, thank you once again, Miss Patty Bax, and all of our awesome peeps here at IE Sports Radio. You guys are amazing. We appreciate you. And, well, Teran, we are off to the playoffs. Playoffs? I just want to win a game. All right, Teran. We got about under 20 minutes to go here on the show before Aaron X takes over the airwaves here at IE Sports Radio. So we're going to speed through this. Off to junior college. Teran, the Triple CAA, the 3C2A. It says here, looks like Contra Coast and Siskiyou is moved due to the Mills fire. So thoughts and prayers are with everybody up there. Hopefully everything's okay. They can get that fire tamed down. That's horrible news, but it seems that's up there in Northern California. But yeah, so Teran, today I don't really know what's going on. I don't know if these are bowl games or just some games that are there, but Contra Coast and Siskiyou, we got Yuba, Los Mendanos, De Anza, and Foothill, Redwoods, Feather River, San Jose, and Hartnell. Those are a lot of northern teams up there in Northern California. Gavilan, I believe, versus West Hills Kalinga. Looks like Victor Valley forfeited, so I think, or there's a forfeit, I guess, Compton, I guess, so Victor Valley wins, I don't know. And then Merced and Monterey Peninsula, so I know Victor Valley and Compton are a Southern California, but I don't know about any of these teams here, and I don't know if there's any bowl games or anything, but I do know that next week we have American River versus to be announced, so that's the first round of the playoffs. That's up, and that's north, by the way. Looks like San Francisco did not make it. I don't know if they did or they didn't. I don't know, but they're in a bowl game. It's to be announced who they're going to face. Ventura is in the SCFA playoffs, which is the southern section. Ventura versus to be announced. And then we have here Riverside, of course. They are the number one team, I believe, moving, of course, into the playoffs. My alma mater, the Riverside Tigers. I don't care. I will say that forever because I've loved playing for them and I love being a Tiger. And restore the roar, baby. Restore the roar. Anyway, Riverside will host, I don't know who, for the 3C2A Southern Regional Championship semifinals. That'll be at San Bernardino Valley College, SBVC. We have the 3C2A Northern Regional Championship Finals as well versus San Mateo. That's in the north. But I don't know who they're going to face either. Then next week we have the SBCC Beach Bowl. We have COD taking on College of the Desert, taking on Santa Barbara. That's next week. Also another bowl game here. Cerritos taking on We Don't Know. And then it looks like the SCFA Regional Playoff round number 1 at Orange Coast College. Teran knows where that is. Looks like Mount San Antonio versus Fullerton. So, Teran, do you know anything more about any of this stuff I just read?
So it looks like most of these games are going to be starting next week, as according to the 3C2A championship schedule, they've got first-round games and bowl games on either November 26th, and then they've got some bowl games on November 26th or December 3rd, and then they've got the championship on December 10th. So, for me, yeah, that's pretty much. I think this week is basically they're going to let the dust settle. They're going to give everybody like a week to like prepare and to like rest up and maybe lick their wounds from all of the battles that they've had. Next week is probably going to be the big time. Is basically going to be where it truly matters. And for me, I think that's kind of a good thing, just because you want to get as many players healthy as possible. And then there's no greater feeling than practicing on Thanksgiving. Like, obviously it's different from high school. Like, high school, you get the option of practicing on Thanksgiving, but I'm not sure if it's the same with the 3C2A, but there is no better feeling than practicing on Thanksgiving week, and I get something special. And I think for the teams that have earned it, good luck to you all.
Absolutely, and that will do it for the 3C2A. Once again, that is the California Junior Colleges. Now move on to the rest of the country, the NJCAA. Looks like we have here Snow and Lackawanna playing today. I don't know what they're playing for, if it's a regular season game, but we have Kilgore and the defending champions, New Mexico Military Institute, in the SWJC-FC Championship. That's today. And then, Teran, I'm looking through the schedule here on njcaa.org, and this is kind of crazy. There's like nothing next week at all, Teran, of course. No Thanksgiving, nothing. Then we come back, and there's like nothing until the 3rd. We get to the 3rd, we get Cisco in the NJCAA National Semifinals round. And then it says first round NJC playoffs, New Mexico Military versus to be announced. Then we move on to the week after that, and there's nothing. So I don't know how the playoff brackets are set, but that's all I'm seeing on this website. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I think today there's like a couple of games, and maybe the Snow Lackawanna game is either a conference championship game. Yeah. I know Kilgore New Mexico Military is also a conference championship game. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens with everything going forward. I think maybe the website just needs to update, and they have to implement all the bowl games and the playoff games and whatnot. So basically, I think it's just a wait and see for the NJCAA. But basically, we've got Kilgore and Snow versus Lackawanna. Kilgore, New Mexico Military, and then Snow, Lackawanna.
Well, we'll see what happens there, Teran. So, rapid fire here. We're moving on up. Well, you guys probably just heard the beep of my coffee machine. Yeah, we're going to have some coffee. But anyway, Teran, so we have here, over to the NAIA. Well, Teran, the brackets are set. And, well, here we go, Teran. Let's go ahead and roll through these as fast as possible. On this bracket, we have here number 1 Morningside out of Iowa, 10-0, taking on number 16 Arizona Christian at 8-2. Teran, the national champions, the defending national champions Morningside, and number 16 Arizona Christian. I don't know, Teran. I just can't go anywhere but Morningside. How about you?
Yeah, I gotta go Morningside as well.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Grandview out of Iowa, number 2 Grandview, taking on number 15 Carroll out of Montana. Hey, some Montana love there for Mr. Aaron X, if he's still listening. Well, I don't know, I hate to be such a jerk, but Grandview's a pretty good school, and I'm going to go with Grandview in this one. Teran, how about you?
Yeah, I gotta go with Grandview as well.
Should be a good game there, but... Next up, Northwestern out of Iowa as well, 9-1, taking on number 14 Dickinson State out of North Dakota. They are 8-2. This one could be pretty good, but I'm just gonna go Northwestern to be safe.
Yeah, probably Northwestern. I'll take Northwestern as well.
Yeah. Number 4 Bethel, Tennessee, 11-0, taking on number 12 Kaiser out of Florida. They're 7-3. This one could, I don't know. Could be kind of crazy, but I'm just going to go once again the higher seed Bethel.
Yeah, I think when it comes to these tournaments, I think it was, I don't know if it was the Division 3 or Division 2, but I think every seed managed to advance to the next
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll take your pick as well.
Bethel as well. Number 5,
Yeah,
Indiana Wesleyan at 9-1, taking on number 13, Avila out of Missouri. It looks like they're 10-1. So congratulations to them. Well, Teran, I think Indiana Wesleyan is a safe pick in this one.
Yeah, I'm taking Indiana Wesleyan as well.
Should be a good game. I think that'll be a little bit of a better game, like some of these will. Number 6, Benedictine out of Kansas, 10-1, taking on number 10, Southwestern out of Kansas at 9-1. Oh, that's a tough one, but Benedictine has won some good games this year. I'm going to go with them by a hair.
Yeah, I think for me, Benedictine is kind of the safe pick as well.
Yeah, should be, I don't know, should be a good game there. But anyway, number 7, Marion, Indiana. Marion, they've won some titles in the last 10 years. They're taking on number 11, St. Xavier out of Illinois. That should be a solid one at 9-2, but give me Marion.
Yeah, I'll take Marion too. I remember a couple seasons ago, I think it was before the COVID season or COVID-19 hit, I think Marion advanced to the NAIA championship where they just fell short.
Yeah. They're a good team. I think they'll get there. So they'll get to the next round. And then number 8, Lindsey Wilson out of Kentucky, taking on number 9, Reinhardt out of Georgia. They're 8-1. Reinhardt's seen their titles. I think they got a title, if I'm not mistaken, in the last 10 years. Lindsey Wilson, I think they won one during COVID. I forgot how that worked. But regardless, man, I'm going to go Lindsey Wilson by a hair in this one. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going with Lindsey Wilson as well.
Alrighty, Teran. Well, we gotta move fast here through these ones, but alright, Teran. Let's take a look, courtesy of NCAA.com. Man, we got some good ones in Division 3. Well, we are ready to rock and roll, man. This is going to be a very, very, very fun playoff bracket, and well, let's do this, man. Alright, so in the top left bracket, we have here Northwestern St. Paul out of Minnesota, and St. John's out of Minnesota. Then we have La Crosse out of Wisconsin taking on Wartburg out of Carolina. Then we have Mount St. Joseph out of Ohio taking on Alma out of out of Michigan. Aurora from Chicago, taking on Wisconsin Whitewater, out of course, Wisconsin in the top left. Who do you see coming out of that bracket, Teran?
This one's going to be tough. I'm going to say, you know what? Give me St. John's.
Whoa! You're taking the Johnnies! We'll see. I think that's the Johnnies. I don't know. But Teran, oh my gosh, good stuff there. That was a tough one for me, too. Give me Wisconsin Whitewater. This team is freaking...
I was so close to picking them. I really wanted to pick them, but then I was like, there are a lot of appetizing teams in this bracket.
Teran, they're battle tested. I think they're the War. If I'm not mistaken, they're the War Eagles or the War Hawks. If I think they literally have war in their name. They want to fight. No, but okay. Bottom left, Teran, we have Salisbury, of course, a team that Mr. Mike Pat knows all too well. Out of my gosh, where are they out of? They're somewhere over there in the DMV area. I think in Maryland. They're taking on Mount Union. Well. Good luck. Out of Ohio. Then Utica, I believe that's how you say it, out of New York, taking on Susquehanna, I believe, in Pennsylvania. Then we have Sunny Cortland out of New York, taking on Randolph-Macon out of the DMV. And then Gallaudet out of the DMV, taking on Delaware Valley, also out of the DMV. Teran, who are you taking out of the bottom left bracket?
I gotta go with Mount Union. I think they're the safer pick.
Yeah, that's kind of not hard. I don't know. Yeah, Mount Union, the Purple Raiders, the Purple Machine. Yeah, give me them as well. The top right bracket, we have Lake Forest out of Illinois taking on North Central, the defending champions. Actually not defending champions, but they won a couple of years ago. Out of Illinois as well. DePaul out of Indiana. Hey, Aaron X. Taking on Carnegie Mellon out of Pennsylvania as well, near Pittsburgh. Or actually, I think they're in Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken. But Springfield out of Massachusetts taking on Endicott out of Massachusetts. And then UMass Dartmouth out of Massachusetts taking on Ithaca out of New York. Teran, who you taking?
This one's also going to be tough. I'm going to go on a limb here and say Carnegie Mellon.
Whoa, okay. I'm gonna go with the champs from a couple years ago, North Central. But dude, if the Carnegie Mellon go, that would be awesome. So okay, then we have the bottom right. Hardin Simmons out of Texas taking on Trinity out of Texas. Huntington out of Texas taking on, I think they're out of Alabama if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, taking on Mary Hardin Baylor out of Texas. Bethel out of Minnesota taking on Wheaton out of Illinois. And Teran, we have gotten to our little neck of the woods. The winner of the winner of the SIAC this year, Pomona Pitzer, taking on from Oregon, Linfield. Who are you taking, Darren?
As much as I want to pick Pomona Pitzer, I'm going to go with Trinity.
What? You don't think Mary Hardin Baylor is doing it this year, Teran?
I mean, it's tough to tell. I mean, I think Mary Hardin Baylor is kind of the dark horse, and that's kind of a dangerous thing. But I think Trinity might be just good enough.
All right. I'm going to go with Mary Hardin Baylor, but this should be good. So, okay. Then into the Division 2. Once again, courtesy of NCAA.com. We have here on the top left the first round bye, IUP out of Indiana. Then we have here Notre Dame, Ohio, out of Ohio, taking on Ashland, of course, out of Ohio as well. New Haven, I forgot where they were out of, my bad. Taking on Shepherd out of West, I believe they're out of West Virginia. And then Slippery Rock, near Pittsburgh, of course, in Pennsylvania, taking on Assumption out of Massachusetts. Teran, who are you taking?
For the individual matchups, or for like all of the
top bracket, top left bracket for the NCAA 2.
I really don't want to give the big edge to Indiana, but give me Shepherd.
Hey, okay, I'm going to go IUP to be safe from this one, but that's a good pick. Okay, Shepherd's a solid team, and we've seen them this year play ball really well. Bottom left, we have Benedict out of Carolina with the first round bye. Then we have Wingate out of Carolina taking on Virginia Union. They freaking made it, Teran. The upsetters themselves, they made it. Congratulations to Virginia Union out of Virginia. Of course, Fayetteville State out of Carolina taking on Delta State. And then Limestone out of Carolina taking on West Florida, the Argos, Teran, out of Pensacola. I think they're in that region somewhere over there. But taking on, West Florida. That's the tough one, Teran. I'm going to go with my guys, though, man. I've been cheering on the Argos for years now. I'm going to go with West Florida. How about you?
They kind of look like the definite favorite. Well, not like the definite favorite, but like the dark horse favorite of like the teams that don't have a bye. I want to go with Benedict myself. I'll take Benedict just to be safe.
Good pick. Top right bracket, Grand Valley State, Teran, the team that brought down the champs this year, Ferris State. Spoiler alert, that's who I'm taking. They get the first round bye on the top right. Then we have North Missouri State taking on Ochita Baptist. Davenport, of course, Missouri out of Missouri, and Ochita Baptist out of Arkansas. Then we have Davenport out of Michigan taking on Ferris State out of Michigan. We could see a Ferris State and Grand Valley State rematch there. Then we have University of Indianapolis, I believe, out of Indy, of course, out of Indiana, taking on Pittsburgh State out of Kansas, if I'm not mistaken. Teran, you already know, I'm going Lakers all day on this one. How about you, man?
This one is also tough. Give me Fair State.
So you think they're going to make it happen, huh? We shall see. Bulldogs.
This one's probably the tougher one just because you've got 3 11-0 teams. You've got Fair State, which I think is underrated quite a bit. And then you've got a other teams that have one or two losses. So this one's probably going to be the competitive bracket, which is going to be very good.
It really is, Aaron. And next up, the bottom right, Angelo State out of Texas gets the first round bye. Then we have Winona State out of Minnesota taking on Demdihi State. I hope I pronounced that right, out of Minnesota. We have CSU Pueblo out of Colorado taking on Colorado School of Mines, of course, out of Colorado. And then Wayne State taking on Minnesota State. Teran, this is going to be a fun one. I think I got to have some kind of a weirdo in here somewhere. And I'm going to go, give me the School of Mines, dude. No, I can't do that. No, I'm just kidding. Give me Angelo State. It's hard to pick against Angelo State, man. I'm going to take them.
Yeah, this one, I just feel Angelo State's going to run through anybody. This is no disrespect to any of the other teams. I mean, but every team outside of Angelo State has at least two losses. So
yeah,
I think Angelo State is the safer and obvious pick. So give me A State.
All right, good sir. Well, that will do it. That is March, the November Madness, you guys. What the NCAA Division I Single A could have if they freaking did a tournament like this. But anyway, everyone gets up at them. Whatever. Anyway, Teran, that will do it for that. And well, the FCS, I believe we have 1 week, if I'm not mistaken, right? Next week, Teran, is where the bracket gets announced?
Yeah.
Well, all the best of those teams today. We do have some pretty good games going on. In, of course, the FCS today. And, all we can ever hope for is that we get some great, great football. I do know we have, I don't know if it's next week or the week after. It's weird. The FCS is a little bit off from the rest of these. But, yeah, looks like today, if my ESPN app would freaking work, there we go. Today we got, of course, some fun ones. UC Davis, Sacramento State, North Dakota versus North Dakota State. That's a rivalry. Tarleton taking on Houston Christian. Hey, Tarleton, leaping from Division II this year. There's some good games today, man. And we're just right now barreling towards the playoffs. We got San Diego versus Morehead State, Austin Peay. Well, they're taking on Alabama. That's not fair. Yale and Harvard. Some good games today, Teran. You want to highlight any of those teams?
Yeah, for Sacramento State, they're on a tear, and I really think they could maybe be a threat going forward, and I'll be interested to see what they could do. We also got some interstate rivalries. We got Idaho and Idaho State. We also, and that Austin Peay Alabama matchup, it looks interesting on paper. But Alabama's going to clearly roll through them, and I'm willing to bet that at least Austin Peay at least covers. I don't think Alabama will cover, but who knows? So, and then you've got a few other of these private school matchups. You've got Yale versus Harvard. So there's that right there.
Yeah. So with that said, Teran, tonight the big one, of course, Saturday Night Football, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. Teran, we know they've both kind of sucked this year. This is Saturday Night Football, though. Who are you taking?
That's a very good question. So, it's tempting to take Oklahoma State just because, here's the thing, Oklahoma State still has a sliver of a chance to to play in the Big 12 Conference Championship game. For Oklahoma, it has been that type of year. I even think that Oklahoma even lost to, West Virginia. They did lose to West Virginia. So, for Oklahoma, they're 7-point favorites, but I got to go with Oklahoma State. I feel that the Cowboys are going to wrangle up the Sooners.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother. I'd go Pokes, man. Then we got a big one in the Pac-12 today. Number 10, Utah, 8-2, taking on number 12, Oregon at 8-2. Who you got, Teran?
So this matchup actually has a bit Pac-12 implications. Whoever wins most likely will be advancing to the Pac-12 championship, unless, of course, it's Oregon, where if Oregon wins and they somehow slip up against Oregon State, then it gets a little interesting with UCLA and then maybe Utah and whatnot. So, this one's also tough. I got to go with that game is going to be played at Utah, right?
I think so.
Yeah, if it's at Utah, it's no doubt.
No, it's an Autzen Stadium.
I'm sorry. sorry, everybody. I'm scatterbrained all over the place. I'll take Utah just to be safe, just because Cam Rising is such a beast of a quarterback. If he weren't playing, and if his tight end was still healthy, I'd take Utah fairly comfortably. But I think this one's going to be close. It's going to really test Utah, because Utah is such a very good home team. But on the road, where they lost to UCLA in the Rose Bowl, they've been kind of sketch. Oh, yeah, and they also have that little loss to Florida as well. So Utah, very good home team. Away team, not so much, but I'll take Utah this week.
I'm going to go with the same thing. And then, of course, Teran, the big one tonight, man. Even bigger, in my opinion, than Saturday Night Football. Number 7, USC, our guys at 9-1, taking on that team from the other side of the city. I'm just kidding. The crosstown rivalry, number 16, UCLA at 8-2. They got USC favored by 2 points. Of course, I know we're both going with our SC Trojans. You talked about this yesterday on the SoCal Spring Sports Show. Always a great job, Teran. Brother, real quick, man, what's your thoughts?
This basically, it's either USC winning the Pac-12 or bust, or in terms of makes the college football playoff. But USC has to get the job done this week. Caleb Williams has been astounding. He has been literally carrying the team despite all the injuries that USC has attained offensively. So I got to go with the Trojans. I think it'll still be close. I don't know if 10 points will be close, but overall, I just think that UCLA is going to bring their best. They obviously want to get back on track after what happened last week against Arizona. But I just feel that USC is – I feel that they'll be the better team. Not saying anything bad about UCLA, but that Arizona loss leaves a bad taste in my mouth, especially since they lost at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. So – with that said, Teran, we got to make way for Mr. Aaron next, man. We've gone way too much further on his time. So, with that said, let's cue that music, y'all, because we are up out of here today. Teran, it was a good one. Oh my gosh, that was fun. Any last comments? Anything you want to say for today's show, man? It was a fun one.
Well, I want to give a shout out to Vanderbilt as they stopped a very long conference game losing streak last week as they beat number 24 Kentucky 24-21. So hats off to the Vanderbilt. It was the Commodores, very good win for them, and it was kind of a resounding win because they came close when they played Missouri, but they fell short. But for Vanderbilt, they finally broke through this year in the SEC, and Kentucky just sticks to basketball.
You're cold-blooded, man. But I'll tell you right now, this has been a great one. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Let's go Trojans. I mean, this is a gosh dang battle. It's going to be a fun game, and all we can do is sit here and hope it's going to be something good to watch. I don't want to see no blowouts from either side. I mean, even as an SC fan, I want to see a good game, man. It's going to be a good one. All the best to everybody in the playoffs right now, all the high school teams out there, everyone we mentioned earlier in the lower divisions. And, of course, plenty going on coming up next week. We got the 3C2A. We'll find out more about the NJCAA. Division 2 and Division 3 and the NAIA will be in round 2 of their brackets. We're going to find out, I think we're going to find out about the FCS bracket next week, maybe the week after, but we'll get that going on. And, of course, Rivalry Week number 2 next week in Single A. Man, it's about that time. This is the most wonderful time of the year, of course. The holidays and tons of college football. Ladies and gentlemen, make way for Mr. Aaron X and the Crossroads Pod coming on up. We appreciate you all for your time today, and well, let's see how today unfolds. With that said, that'll be that. For Teran Rodriguez, for myself, Larry B., this has been 3 and Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll see you next week. Until then, take care, and as always, God bless.